Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything that is in between and outside of that. I am Kip, or Casey Gray, or any of my other aliases I've gone by on the internet. What's important right now for you to know is that I made a Creative Services Archive, and also just like Creative Services, and Project Clef, and Project Viola, and Project Cello, and pretty much any not woodwind, pretty much any string instrument, like orchestral instrument, or like music theory term. Take your pick. I've probably made a project with that name. Anyway, um, I've come here today because I wrote a book. That's right, a whole book. I wrote the book a while ago. I'm just, I just figured I'd read it now, cause it's actually probably been like 2 years if I'm being for real. Hold on, let me look. I'm gonna be right back. I just looked at the file. This is a year old. I've had this book for a year, and I've never released it in any official capacity. So you guys are getting the audiobook. Now, I will say this will seem a lot shorter than it is, because the book is 284 pages, right? But it's an inverse novel, like it's in verse, and I messed around with all of like the formatting and stuff, so that it would be cooler and more artsy. And I'm definitely gonna link a Google Drive link in the description, so that way if you want to, you can read the book as its intended PDF. But yeah, I'm just gonna do a reading. I make no promises of being one of the greats of audiobook making, because I've never done it before. This is my first time, and all this will be live reactions. And I've not read this book in a while, so yeah, you're about to get the full raw Kip experience. Yeah, see ya. See ya when I start. Creative Services, Project Clef, by Christopher Hargrove. Chapter 1. The Blink. Full. My only thoughts are ones about my pain. It's been like this for a while now. I don't remember what happened. Not a single thing. But I can try my best. Conflict. Boredom. Focus. Movement. Movement. Think. Think faster. Adrenaline. Braking. Heat. Pressure. Breathing. Sharp. Danger. Looking. Fear. Fear. Terror. Snap out of it. Think about something else. What can you hear? Buzzing. Are you awake? I hope not. I wish I wasn't here. Wherever here is. I want to wake up in my bed. I just want to get back to my life. Just choose something. I'm going to live or die. I want to cut to the chase. I want closure. I always have. Is this what limbo feels like? The undecided? My body hurts, but I can't feel it. I'm not blind, but it's as if my vision was never even there in the first place. All I can hear is my thoughts, and they're deafening. The more I try to quiet the voice in my head, the louder it becomes. I want to talk to someone else. Someone who knows what's going on. Someone who knows what happened. 2. The memory. The path he followed. It feels like a million years ago. Even though I met the love of my life there. It feels like that place should be in ruins, but it's still standing somehow. I guess that I tried to forget about what happened there, but I wouldn't be here if I had forgotten. I'd always trust that man. So much of my life was spent there, yet only 3 things stuck with me. Her, him, and it. With how little I cared about that place, even at the time, Scared, we pulled back. I thought it was behind me. Nothing but a distant memory. One that I'd both reminisce on and regret. But overall, I'm thankful I got out the way I did. The same. Believe me, not everybody can say that. Especially him. I mean, after what happened to Ben, he was torn apart. Of course he was. But after a few days, he came back. And he seemed just fine. He was fine for a month. He got sad, angry, and unproductive sometimes. But frankly, we had expected far worse. But after a few years, something happened. I couldn't tell you what. Something happened to him. It was a normal day, and the others went home, including him. But the next morning, he was different. He came in and didn't even say hi. He didn't say anything. He had this look on his face, one that I'll never forget. It's hard to explain. Not blank, not hollow, just aware. He conveyed so little emotion, yet so much motivation. Like he had some sort of objective, one that only he knew. He was going to do it. And it didn't stop, not at all. He was like this for a long, long time. We didn't try to talk to him. We were scared. We barely even talked about him. What happened to him was always just something we mentioned in passing conversation. The room would fall silent, every time. But the weirdest part about this wasn't the silence, no. It was when he went back to normal. One day, I believe it was in the early 2000s, the others went home as they always do, including him. But the next morning, he was great. He greeted everyone good morning. He went out of his way to do so. He was happy, outgoing, jovial. He was himself again, and nobody knew why, except for him. It's kind of funny. I've been going on and on for all this time. I only mentioned one thing about that place that stuck with me. It doesn't matter, though. I'll be seeing all of them soon. 3. The shame. Mistakes. I'm worried about her. I really am. She acts calm, but I know her like I know my own mind. She's scared, just like me. It's been at least 20 or 30 years since she had guard duty. She doesn't know, but I was watching her every night. I know what she saw, what she went through. I saw her tears. I've never seen her that scared since. I don't want this. I never did. I would never do anything to hurt her. I would never do anything to hurt anybody. But here we are. I've created terrible things, things that hurt her. The worst part was that I didn't even know. I wish I'd known what I was doing, what I was really doing. If I had known, then I would never have built those damn new models. RB7, GRC6, CHAR, B4, sleek, high-tech, and improvement. But there was nothing wrong with the last models, or the models before that. RB3, SCA1, CHAR, B2, hell, RA2, he was fine, they were all fine. Sure, there may have been room for improvement, but what we made, it was unnecessary. We weren't ready for the tech we were playing with. We just weren't ready. And here I am now. My creations are hated. Hated by my old friends. Hated by faces new to me. Hated by almost everyone I know. And by almost everyone I used to know. I put so much work into those things. Blood, sweat, and tears. So much thought, so much effort. I worked constantly, trying my best, giving it my all. I just wanted to make people happy. I remember the day CHARB4 was first used publicly. It was a pretty big event, and it was pretty heavily marketed. Well, heavily marketed by our standards, at least. As a part of this marketing, we set up a public raffle. A parent could pay $5 for a ticket with their phone number and child's name on it. All of these tickets would be put in a box. After a couple weeks, Alistair would take a random ticket out of the box. He would contact the winner, telling them that they won the raffle. We then scheduled a birthday party with the parents. But it wasn't a normal party, though. It was a party where the winner's child would be given some free plushies, a special badge, or flower if the child was a girl. But the best part was that Charby4 would be revealed for the first time, carrying the child's birthday cake to them. The kid that won was turning 6 years old. I think that his name was Ethan or something like that. We had talked to him a few times before the party. Let me tell you, nothing made me feel better than hearing how excited that kid was. And then the big day came. Ethan was having fun with other children. The parents even seemed to be enjoying themselves. It was all going great. Then the time came for Charby4 to carry in the cake. We had the rest of the band play a happy birthday song, with Charby4 stepping off its stage to sing the last happy birthday, carrying the cake to Ethan. That was the plan, at least. The band played their song and Charby4 stepped off the stage. And this kid, this poor kid, he started crying. He was scared of Charby4. We ran over to hug his mom. He kept crying as his parents tried to calm him down. He stopped crying, but only after we took Charby4 back to its stage and closed the curtain. Eventually, we took Charby4 back out to display it. Ethan kept his distance from it, grabbing onto his mom's leg the whole time until we hid it again. Hearing that kid crying, it killed me. At that point, I didn't even care about the work I put into Charby4, no. I promised this kid a great birthday party. I promised Ethan happiness on his birthday, and I failed him. That was in the 80s. Ethan's all grown up now. And the thought that Ethan is still scared of that character, the thought that Ethan will always look back on his 6th birthday with sadness and fear, it kills me. I ruined his birthday. I ruined a child's 6th birthday. And it was all my fault. If I had just taken a step back while designing and assembling that damn model, then I would have given Ethan one of his best birthdays. But I didn't, and Ethan had his 6th birthday ruined. After that day, I had been looking for Ethan every day. But he didn't come back. He never did. All I wanted to do was apologize to him, but I never got to. That kills me. Four. The Shadow. Eye of the Storm. Well, I suppose it was a bit silly of me to think that this was all over. While I'd love to say that this whole situation is unjust, I think that my life has been full of enough lies as is. So I guess that old bastard hasn't given up yet. I'm almost proud. Well, I hate to get back involved in this, especially after I thought I took care of this whole mess a long time ago. A particularly sick part of me is excited. And of course I have my sorrows over this. How wouldn't I? I do feel bad for that child, I really do. And I'll never forgive myself for not fulfilling a parent's wishes. But I do hope that this whole ordeal will give me an opportunity to make it up to her. As I said, I'd be kidding myself if I said that I shouldn't be pulled back into this. To be quite honest, I've had it coming for quite a while now. Some things I did were wrong, and though I fully acknowledge that, I've never truly paid back my dues, and my apologies. So it makes sense that I found myself back in this ugly situation. But until I tie up those loose ends, it'll be one hell of a ride. I know that there's things to change with us in our situation, but I have to admit, there's things I've done that I would never apologize for, and things I've done that I don't regret. You'd be surprised with how little feelings actually overlap. But then there are things that I don't know how to feel about. That night, I don't know how to feel about it. I regret it because of the people me and many others lost. I don't regret it because it made everybody tougher. What doesn't kill you, after all? I am sorry because he was never given a chance. I'm not sorry because he was probably better off the way I left him. I regret it because things will never be the same again. I don't regret it because I was let free. I am sorry I couldn't have known. I'm not sorry I couldn't have known. I suppose that I am a bit too confident about this. I was young when I first stopped this, and I was even younger when I started it. But I probably deserve whatever's going to happen to me. A wise man once told me, no game is worth winning if you're breaking. 5. The rule. The line. All of it is a memory to me. That is the only option I have. That is all that is left of me. The real me. My memory. What I am now is an extension of just that. Like a cave's echo that grows louder and louder, my thoughts are reverberated until nothing is left of them. The thought itself is gone, and all that remains is awareness. Awareness that something is repeating in my brain. I don't know what it is. I don't remember knowing. He did this to me. He did this to me. Heartless monster. Does he know what he did to me? Or am I just an afterthought? Something meant to be seen. Something meant to be heard. Not something to be experienced. Not something to be cared for. Not something human. I am still a human. He ruined me. He can't get away with that. I can't live like this. This isn't how it ends. I will take him. And her. She had it coming. Running through the trenches of things that she shouldn't understand. All for her own selfish reasons. Some people you can't save. They're either dead or will be. He taught me that. Never cry because it's over. Don't smile because it happened. Shut up and move on. There are better things to do. Lingering on things you don't have only leads you to losing more. I learned that a long time ago. I'm not sorry, and I never will be. I will chase what I want. I will do what I want when I want to. I will make this right. I don't care what they say. I can't wait to see them again. And they call me immoral. Call me that, sure. It only means that they're insane. What do you call digging up things put to rest 20 years ago because you aren't happy with it? What do you call leading your loved ones like a lamb to the slaughter? What do you call holding each other at gunpoint just to get something done? What do you call what he did to me? What do you call crazy? What they call it is heroic. I can't even call that ironic. I can only call it disgusting. Have you ever heard the definition of insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting something, anything, to change. That, to me, is absolutely insane. 6. M. Wire. Ouroboros. I hate that place. I hate that place. I hate that place. I hate that place so much. I hate that thing. That thing. I hate that thing. I hate that thing. God, I hate that thing. I hate their smiles. Their smiles. I hate their smiles. I hate their smiles so much. I hate it so goddamn. It's happening again. It's happening again. It's all happening again. It's happening again. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. No, not anymore. Not anymore. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Cut the strings. Cut the strings. Cut the strings. Cut the strings. Until the day I die. 7. The remaining. Denial. I have a riddle for you. History repeats, but I haven't. They look back. I've been there. She lives. I can't. He's ready. I have no choice. They're both scared. I can't feel that anymore. He's calm. I will never understand. It's back, and I've been waiting. No matter what happens, I will remain. I always have, and I always will. I don't know if I can ever leave. I don't know if I necessarily want to. Am I even alive? I must be, because I have consciousness. I can see, I can hear, but I can't smell, I can't taste, I can feel nothing. I've had all the time in the world to think about this, but it all feels like a blink. I can do anything I feel like, but I don't think you could ever call me free. I'm as fast as a lightning bolt, but I can't leave this place. I can't escape who I've made. None of them. The girl is finally here. I hate to see her involved in what I've done. But who knows what would have happened to her if she didn't. I'm just happy that she's here. I think that he would be happy too. I know it's happy. That or it's angry. Most likely, angry. And about that young man, may God help him. He can't get a grip. He's overrun with anger. I think he's going to do something. Something bad. Unfortunately, there isn't anything that I can do about it. I don't think that we can stand to lose him. Not again. And the other one. I hope that he will live in guilt until the day he dies. I can't blame him for what happened to me. But the others. He ruined them. Sure, he didn't mean any of this. But that doesn't make it better. It can't get better. It can only stop. Why am I still here? What day is it? Did he do this to me? Is this my fault? I can feel again. I can see again. I can hear again. but I'm under lock and key. I feel so free. I feel so trapped. I am lost in my own being. My mind is a labyrinth made by someone else. Is this all just to torment me? Do I deserve it? I'm sorry. Shut up. What? Shut your damn mouth. But I'm not talking. Then stop it. Stop what? Just stop whatever you're doing. I can't do anything. Well, it fucking feels like you can. Calm down. Give me one reason to calm down. I can't. Then shut up. I'm sorry, but I can't deal with you acting like this. What are you trying to say to me, boy? That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. Like what? You're like this all the time. Like what? Pissy, you're just constantly controlling and pissy. So I'm the pissy one? Yes! Says the person who can't follow a simple direction without starting an argument. I was just telling you that I couldn't help it. You're the one who escalated this. Okay, fine. Let's just try and work together for a second. That sounds fine. Alright, try to get up. On the count of 3? Sure. 1, 2. It's not working. No shit. How exactly do you want me to get up? How many ways could there be to stand up? Well, you could start with your left or right hand on the ground. Either leg, you could do a kip up. Okay, I get it. Sorry. Don't apologize, just do it. Yes. Let's start off small. Try to move your right leg up. Oh, it's working! Yeah, but barely. It feels nice to move. Okay, now stop. Fine. I hate this. I hate this body. I hate this place. I hate the way I exist. I hate this feeling. I hate this. I know where I am. I know who I am and used to be. I have a sense of my surroundings. I'm not panicking. I hate that I know so much. I know many things I wish I didn't. But there's one thing I regret knowing the most. There was a face. A real human face. It wasn't alive. It hadn't been alive for a long, long time. Maybe he didn't pull the trigger, but he led me here. Chapter 2. 8. The Blink. Crescent. Okay. I have to calm down. I need to get a sense of my surroundings. I opened my eyes. I tried. It hurt like hell, but I forced my eyes open through pain and blinding white lights. After a few moments, my eyes adjusted. I could see. Finally. My eyes darted across the area, trying to get a solid image of where I was. Off-white walls, darker colored tile-based ceiling with a rectangular light in the center of it. Well, I'm not home right now. There's no way. I must be in some sort of institute. I looked to the left, where I saw an open window. I must have been at least 10 stories off the ground. I looked down to the ground. A small town with a few long roads with larger buildings to the sides of them, and a tall building with a cross on top of it. Okay, I'm in Leadville. That's good. I thought I knew where I was, but I hoped I was wrong. I looked over to my right. I was correct. A heart rate monitor, an IV bag, a life support machine, and anything else you'd expect to see in a hospital. Come on, what the hell happened? What did I do? Of course, it was the worst case scenario. But why was I there? I tried to remember anything about being sent to a hospital, but I just couldn't. Alright, so I can't remember why I'm here. Let's go with the next best thing. What is the last thing I remember besides waking up here? Vividly, I remember getting out of bed, making myself some breakfast, sitting at my desk. I was sitting at my desk most of the day, but the reason why is a bit fuzzy to me. My memories were getting fuzzy. I remember I was annoyed with something, so I stopped doing it. There was a camera, and something breaking. A warm, tight space. A knife. Maybe a gun? Fear. I took a deep breath as I stepped out of my trance, feeling disoriented. I realized I was sweating hard. I tried to move my left hand, my dominant one, up to my forehead to wipe it off. That's when I realized something else. I looked down at my body in utter shock. My left arm and right leg were in casts. What the hell happened to me? 9. The memory. The water's fine. Stressed. I laid in my bed, staring at the ceiling. I knew what I had to do, but I was scared. Honey, are you doing okay? I was almost startled by her. The shame. I propped myself up to look at her. She was leaning against the doorway with pajama pants and a soft t-shirt on. Yeah, I'm doing alright, I said hesitantly. Before she got a chance to speak, I looked over to the nightstand on my left, checking the clock. Oh my god, Shame, it's 10 a.m. You should be at work. It's okay. I called my boss and he said that I could stay home today to watch you. You don't have to do that, babe. I'm fine. I really am. Well, I've already been excused from work, so I guess I'll just be home today. Oh, and since you're feeling so great, we could go run a lap around the neighborhood. She knows me way too well. Okay, you got me. The Shame smirked as she started walking over to me. She put her hand on the bed before sitting down next to me, switching the smirk on her face to a much more serious look as she did. Okay, lay it on me. What's going on with you? I think you know. Well, I can't be quite sure. Do I know? It's what happened to the blink. Now Emwire and the Shadow are taking it. Oh, baby, you can't be worrying about stuff like that. I know. I feel like I should be doing something about this. Like what? Go visit her, meet with the others. Just something. Honey, whatever they're doing isn't any of our business. Just worry about yourself. I guess you're right. It's their problem, not ours. That's the spirit. Now, do you want to go watch a movie, or... No, I'm okay. I'm actually thinking about going on a drive here in a second. Okay. Where are you gonna go? Just, around. Okay. Have fun with that. The shame stood up and walked towards the door. She took one last glance at me before leaving the room. Time to go do something I'm probably going to regret. 10. The Shadow. Trust exercises. This might not be a good idea. I sat in my car, revolver in hand, the rain pounding on the roof of my car. As I sat there, I couldn't stop thinking about the tape. I lied to him. I told him I'd protect her, and look where I am now. I turned on my windshield wipers so I could see out my window. Through the rain, I gazed at those illuminated letters that spelled out St. Vincent's Hospital. The blank. God damn it. I promised him I'd protect you. How did it end up like this? I should have been better. I felt my thumb around the hammer of my revolver for a moment. Just like old times. I swung the car door open, I hopped out and threw the revolver onto the pavement. I can't do this. You aren't ready. You can't be. I stood there with the car door open, the chilling rain showering me. I stood there with my fist clenched. I felt my eyes begin to tear up. You need to get that. It's getting wet. You need that. It might break. It's important to you. It's expensive. Grab it. Get it. Pick it up. Take the revolver. Until the day I die, remember? You need to get that. It's getting wet. It might break. It's important to you. That's expensive. Grab it. Get it. Pick it up. Pick up the damned revolver. Until the day I die, remember? I started walking towards the revolver, feeling lightheaded. I stepped right in front of it, with my toes up against the handle. I looked down at it. There was rain pouring down on my head. I looked down at it. I was about to grab it when I felt something slam into the side of my head, knocking me over. 11. Hemwire. Focus. Breathe out. You're okay. This is okay. You're doing the right thing. You've always been doing the right thing. You're okay. I'm okay. The road! I snapped out of my thoughts, realizing that half of my car was driving through the grass. I swerved back onto the road, making sure that my trailer followed. I took a second to regroup. Look at yourself. You're unstable. You're not ready. I gripped the wheel tighter, leaning my head over onto it. After a moment, I jolted my head up to look at the road. I've moved my eyes from the road up to the sky, gazing at this clear sky above me. While it was clear where I was, I couldn't help but notice the stormy clouds in the distance, right where I was headed. It's kind of funny, isn't it? I glanced over at the stereo clock. It read 6:48 p.m. 1 hour. It had been 1 hour since I had figured out about this. 1 hour. 1 hour was enough for me to make this decision. That was nowhere near enough time, but I was already committed. Couldn't go back now. I'm going to regret this. He's going to be so disappointed. They're going to be so scared. She's going to be so confused. It's going to be so angry. I turn on the radio, trying to distract myself. There is some generic pop song playing. These lyrics are terrible, and I know the artist doesn't care. He just wants money. I change the station. Then I change the station again. Then again. Then again. 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 I check the time again. 8:04 p.m. I let out a sigh before turning off the radio. The only thing I heard now was rain hitting the roof of my car. I looked past the dashboard in fear. My chest tightened up. I felt my hands go damp with sweat. I didn't blink once as I gazed upon that small town. It felt like the cross on top of the tallest building was taunting me. 12. The remaining. Bargaining. So it starts again. It was only a matter of time, really. The memory's desire is growing. So is the shame's concern. The shadow never went away. The rule will always be in place. Wire's well on his way. I remain, along with the others, and the blink is to thank for all of this. They all have their regrets, so do I. But they're here to make it right, to make it better than it ever was. At least, that's their hope. I will do everything I can to help, even if I can't do much. I owe that to them. I am to blame for this, am I not? I mean it. I want an answer. My mind has laid restless, asking myself that question. Even if it is my fault, there isn't anything I can do to make it right. All I know is that we're all going through this hell together. We can only hope to come back stronger. I wish I could go back. I can't, but I wish I could. If I knew what I was really doing, I would have never taken those strings. I'm sorry. I truly am. I just couldn't have known. Or maybe I could have. That would make this my fault, wouldn't it? I'm sorry. It's all a blur. I can see. I can barely see, but I'm not picky. It's mostly dark. Sometimes color peeks through. I can barely feel my body. This feels like sleep paralysis, perpetually. I can hear just barely better than I can see. I hear some sort of music. Faint voices, faint laughing. Sometimes faint screaming. I don't know why, but the screaming always sounds so close. Did I hurt someone? I don't want to. Not anymore, at least. I can't move. I can't breathe. I want to. What are we going to do? What do you mean? What's our next course of action? There isn't one. There can't be one. Why are you so negative? We managed to move a little before. I don't want to start an argument right now. Fine. I'm just saying that I don't think anything we could do would be worth it. Are you sure? No. So why do you say that? Well, can you tell me what we could do? Fair.
We could try and open our eyes.
Why?
I just want to be able to see.
Okay, all right.
On 3?
Fine.
3, 2.
Where are we?
I don't know.
My vision is really blurry. Is yours any better?
Probably not.
Damn.
This looks like it could be some sort of cabin.
Why would we be in a cabin?
Why are we in each other's heads right now?
You're right. Doesn't matter. We just need to get through this. Here. Let's try and look down at our body.
On 3?
Yeah.
3, 2.
What the hell?
What are we?
What is this body?
This isn't my body.
It isn't my body either.
What is happening to us right now?
I don't know.
Who did this to us?
I don't know.
Can we get out?
It's so dark here. I don't remember the light very well. I hate that I can see. Looking around, I see boxes. Lots of boxes. There's magazines, plushies, posters, paintings. There's a box with what looks like a padlock on it, too. I see a door. It feels like it's taunting me. Laughing. Laughing. I can barely spit out a few words. There's no way I could laugh. Especially because there's nothing to laugh at. Hey guys, it's me, Kip. That was a lot. I'd like to apologize for some of the writing in there, and the fact that I said some of the lines wrong, and that I paused sometimes. I was gonna do retakes, but I kind of just decided that I'd do a take per section, because I did not want to mess around with any of that stuff. Reading this back, the book ain't that bad. It's bad. It's not good. And I kind of realize it's very vague and hard to understand if you don't already have free, exposition to CSA lore. But, if you do, then, hey, it's probably alright, I guess. Yeah. I'm gonna upload this to SoundCloud. This will be part 1. We're halfway through the story, because there's 4 chapters. And then, yeah, I'll upload the rest of it. Also on SoundCloud, and I'll eventually make a YouTube upload. But, I have ran into problems with my video editing software, so, yeah, it makes things a bit more difficult to, make videos. But yeah, thank you all for listening. I doubt anybody listened all the way through, but if you did, I guess drop a like if you liked it, or were just amused by how bad the writing was. I'm going to take this as an opportunity to say now, CSA isn't continuing. It will not continue. It will not exist. It will wake up. I have no intention on doing anything with it now. And if I were to realize any of my stories fully, then I have a story in mind. And a spoiler alert, it's not the series with the talking bobcat. But I mean, hey, I'd be down to do it at some point again someday. If I ever get the funding, making a show out of this would be sick. So that's what I've imagined CSA as, is like a TV show. Like a CW show. Not CW. CW sucks. Almost like Stranger Things style. I know saying Stranger Things is cringe now, but like that sort of thing. Just like a horror TV show, I think would be a really good way to do this. Oh, but that's enough of me talking. Also, sorry if I was clicking a lot during recording, like doing a sort of thing, like a. Um, I'm only looking like now back at the footage, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of sudden because like I can see that on the audio thing. I can see the little spike where I go. Um, I'm realizing I did that a lot when I probably shouldn't have. That was like not characteristic. I probably had the remaining click a couple times. Not something the remaining would do. Not that. Not that the remaining's a canon character. I don't give a damn. At some point, I'm probably gonna reveal the lore. I'm probably gonna make like a lore explaining video, or just explain all CSA lore. But as it stands, I'm not gonna do that. Mainly because I just don't have the time, and that would require a lot of editing. In a perfect world, I could do a BDG, Brian David Gilbert style unravel video. It's something I've always wanted to do. Is an unraveled style video where I just I get like a whiteboard and I start writing down all the lore. I explain everything that happens because honestly, I feel like for a FNAF, like a FNAF analog horror series, I, I mean, I have better stories now. I definitely have better stories now. But for what it is, I think that the story I made was pretty damn amazing. But yeah, that's again no intention of continuing it. I just might reveal the lore at some point, talk about some stuff I was planning on doing, and just yeah, leave it there. But hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you all next upload, whenever that is. Yeah, bye. All right, guys, take 4 of my intro to this audiobook, because the first one I discovered that my like project bit rate was like way too low, like insanely low, and then I figured out that the like in the second take, like somebody was like coming home, and like you could hear the door opening and like dogs barking, so I decided to cut that. And then third take, I like overshared a bit in the intro, and this is the fourth one. But yeah, this should be the final one. Guess who got a new microphone? It's a Rode Mini. I don't know the exact like number, but it's good. It's a good microphone. I'm actually using uh like active monitoring, so like I can hear myself right now, which means yeah. Also, I'd like to apologize if there's any inconsistencies from the last video, like how I may voice certain characters, or if anything was confusing, or about like any background noises you may have heard, and also the fact that the last video's bit rate was like really low. This is like twice the bit rate of that video. So, yeah, sorry if that last one was a really low quality and difficult to listen to. I also didn't use like any noise suppression or anything on it. So, this one should be a lot better. I also apologize if I end up like reading starting at the wrong spot, because I don't know exactly at what point in the book that like I stopped reading. So, yeah, also sorry for taking so long. With all that said, sorry if the character voices are different. Uh, the basic, the basic idea should be similar. Also, I listened back to some of the last recording. I realized that some of the voices do already sound pretty similar, and also there will be some female characters that have very high pitched voices, and I don't know if you've heard me talk ever, but I can't really get down there like that high. You know, I have a very deep voice, not a very deep voice, but one that can't do that. So yeah, I'm just gonna record this. We'll see how it goes. Enjoy. Project Clef, Chapter 3, Section 13. The Blink. Waxing. I laid there, looking at the ceiling, the light shining in my eye. I wanted to rest. I knew I needed to rest, but I couldn't. I need to know what happened to me. What led me here? How long have I even been here? I need to remember. Okay. A closet. Closer towards it. Breathing. Heavy breathing. No more breathing. Eyes. There were eyes. Staring. Shattering. That noise. I took a deep breath, opening my eyes. I can't remember anything else. That's okay. You're okay. This is okay. I'm okay. I listened to the beeps of the heart rate monitor get slower as I calmed down. After a moment, my eyes began darting around the room. Think. You're in a hospital, right? There must be nurses. They must have noticed your heart rate go up. That's their job, right? Someone should be on their way. I can ask them what happened to me. Hopefully they know more than me. As I was looking around the room, I noticed something. It was out of the window. It was raining. It was dark outside. Hold on, what time is it? I started looking around the room for a clock. I spotted an analog clock on the wall just ahead of me. It took me a second due to my bad vision, but I eventually figured out the time. 8:27 p.m., I presume. You're getting distracted. Doesn't matter how late it is. I just need to talk to someone right now. Just as I peeled my eyes away from the clock, I heard the door creak open. I'm sorry to bother you this late at night, but you're Roxanne West, right? Section 14. The Memory. Marco. Yes, that's me. Her voice was so hoarse it seemed like she could barely speak. That's good. Who are you? Do you recognize me? No. She had casts on both her arm and leg, with bandages covering parts of her face. Well, I'm Chloe Waters. She stared at me blankly. I used to work for your fathers in the 80s and 90s. I saw her eyes widen and her smile grow. Really? What was he like? She entered a coughing fit. It sounded rough. But as soon as she was done, she got right back to talking, sounding more energetic. Sorry. What was he like? He was a great guy. He was pretty lenient, too. Anyways, how are you feeling? Good, I guess. Her smile faded as she said it. Then she turned her head towards the window. She started looking irritated as she moved her head around. I can't see anything from this angle. I started looking around the room for something to help her. I saw a lot of machinery, but nothing to help her other than a single pair of crutches. It was better than nothing, I guess. Do you want some crutches? I picked them up and started walking towards her. No, that's fine. Besides, it wouldn't do much. I could go and get you a wheelchair from somewhere else. That would be good. All right, you stay here while I go get it. I set the crutches down, leaving them leaning on her bed as I started to walk away. Wait. Huh? Can you stay here? I really don't want to be alone right now. Oh, of course I'll stay, yeah. I let my hand off the door handle as I turned around to face Roxanne. Thank you. No problem. I remember when I was 15 and I broke my arm. I hated being alone in the hospital. I looked over to the window, taking a look at the parking lot. What do you see out there? Not much. It's too dark to see past the parking lot. All right, then. What does the parking lot look like right now? It's pretty empty right now. But there's some dude. Some dude? Oh no, it can't be him. There's no way.
What's going on? Who are you talking about?
Of all people right now? Of course it's... Section 15. The Shadow. Just like old times. I wasn't fully conscious yet, but I knew somebody was speaking. I had no idea what they were saying, but I knew they were talking. I was laying face down on the pavement, feeling the raindrops ripple. I got my eyes all the way open, but my vision was still blurry. I pushed myself up into a sit, still trying to get a bearing on my surroundings. I put a hand to my head as I started looking around for my glasses. I muttered out, "Glasses? Where are my glasses?" To my surprise, I heard a response. A response from a very familiar voice. "Looking for these?" I then felt something hit and bounce off of my face. It felt like my glasses, so I reached towards where I thought they fell. I managed to get a grasp on them, wiping them off and putting them on my face. I was able to see clearly again, so I looked around for whoever was talking to me. As soon as I saw them, I was filled with all sorts of emotions. M-Wire. Is it really? Ryan, don't get used to it. Oh my god, I'm so glad to see you again. Really? After I clocked you in the jaw? That was you? Of course it was me. What the hell, man? You let that thing get out. I didn't do shit. Then explain to me why Roxanne is in a fucking hospital right now. I don't know how that happened. Bullshit. I pushed myself up off the ground, facing Ryan. Why would I ever let something like this happen? I don't know. I could see it in his face. He was holding back from saying what he wanted to. I guess he still had some respect for me. Ryan let out a defeated, exhausted sigh. There was a moment of silence as we stared at each other. Then I suddenly realized something. Hold on. Where's my gun? I started looking around frantically. My revolver wasn't in sight. My head jolted to face Ryan as my body began to tense up. What did you do with my gun? I find it funny that when something of yours goes missing, you immediately blame me. Where is it? Yeah, you're going after me. Did you take it? For assuming that you had something to do with Alistair's daughter. It was for him! Ryan's expression changed from one of smugness to one of shock in a second. I just stared into his eyes, barely blinking. I didn't know that. I didn't know that had any significance to you. It's okay. You couldn't have known. We both tilted our heads down to the ground with the rain still pouring down on us. My eyes began to tear up. Section 16. M-Wire. Whatever it takes. My eyes were glued to the pavement. I didn't dare to look up at him. My throat began to feel like a desert. I felt so shameful, like I had said or done something wrong. Something that got to him. Something that hurt him. Really hurt him. I reached into my coat, fumbling around for the gun. I thought that I would feel good about this. When I had finally gotten a grasp on the revolver, I held it out. Sorry, I was just... I let out a deep sigh. I just couldn't find the words. I was worried about... I peeled my eyes away from the pavement, looking up at him. He followed shortly after. I saw his eyes shine against the parking lot lights. I was worried about what you might do. He just stood there, staring at the revolver. I was worried about what I might do, too. I could hear it in his voice. He was trying his best to hold back tears. I don't think I can take it. He took a step back, locking his head on the gun. It's okay. I'm here. If you do anything, I'll punch you again. I changed my grip on the firearm, holding it by the barrel with the handle facing towards him. He had stopped right in his tracks, his face scrunched up as his hands turned to fists. I can't do it. I don't trust myself with it. My headache had gotten worse as I felt my temper grow. Well, I trust you with it, so just take it. I tried not to raise my voice too much, but just enough to let him know that I was getting sick of this. I'm not doing it. I can't be trusted with that thing. All right. Don't feel bad for what you're about to do, Ryan. You have to get it done. Let me say that again. I changed my grip on the gun again, holding it by the handle with the barrel facing towards him. Walked up to him, to which he cowered more and more the closer I got. Don't feel bad. It has to be done. I wove my left arm under his right arm, wrapping it around his upper torso. I got a firm grip on his side, just below his ribs. I felt him shaking, and heard a faint whimper coming from him. Don't feel sorry. It has to be done. It's for the greater good. Look. I held the revolver up to his abdomen, pushing the gun's barrel against him. I leaned my head closer to his until they were near touching, making direct eye contact with him. Do you want to take the gun now?
I really...
I started pulling back the hammer of the firearm slowly as he started to shake even more. I don't need your explanation. I don't need your whole life story. This is a simple yes or no question. I need to hear one of two words right now. Yes or no. Your choice. I heard him say something under his breath, but I couldn't understand it. What did you just say to me? He tilted his head up towards me before saying in a grumbly voice, I said I hate those options. Really? You hate those options? He glared at me with confidence, unblinking. Do you understand the situation you're in right now? Millions of people die every day, and you could very well be one of them. Do you understand that? Millions of people, and damn near none of them get to choose their fate, but you do. I'm giving you a simple choice right now. You can either live your past or die by it. Motherfucker, do you know how many little people get to choose those options? And you're saying that you hate them? I've given you an opportunity that almost no one gets, and you fucking spat on it? Now, for one final time. I lifted the revolver up to his face, pushing the barrel against his forehead. Do you want the gun or not, Harrison? Harrison stared at me with a special kind of bravery in his eyes. This motherfucker. 3, 2, 1. With a small shift in his stance, I was set on high alert. I scanned across his body when I saw him reaching into his right pocket. This motherfucker. I reached my hand into the inner side of my coat, loosening my grip on the revolver slightly. I took my eyes off him for a second when he pulled brass knuckles out of his pocket. Before I had time to react, he swung his fist towards the left side of my face. The knuckles collided with my eye, causing me to stumble back. The moment I did, he ripped the revolver right out of my hand. He took a couple steps back to line up the shot, giving me an opportunity. I felt my suppressed Beretta out of the holster in my coat, aiming it at Harrison's head. And in the same second, we both pulled our triggers. Harrison fired first, but not by much. He was given a bit more time to aim, giving him the advantage. Given the way he was holding the gun, the bullet was going to go right through my head. I assumed the bullet was going to hit me near the left part of my head, around the temple. It would kill me, no doubt about it. But if I was correct, I was going to be kicking for a moment after the fact. Now, I consider myself a pretty good shot, but keep in mind, even highly trained policemen miss about 60% of the shots they fire. Despite how mad at him I was, I didn't necessarily want to kill him. In a stroke of what could admittedly be overconfidence, I aimed at his collarbone. Would have hurt him like hell, but he would survive. We were in front of a hospital, after all. The main point of this was letting him know that I wasn't afraid to try and kill him. After all, I am a bit taller than him, and I hit him in the shoulder. Aiming too far down on someone short, hitting their shoulder as opposed to their head. Very believable. No. It'll scare the hell out of him. It'll make him listen to me without an immediate threat present. Then, in the same moment, we pulled our triggers. Harrison pulled his. I pulled mine. Click, pop. I saw Harrison standing as a large dent appeared in the streetlight just over his shoulder. I felt no pain when I saw the revolver's hammer fling forward with no bullet firing from its barrel. He looked over his shoulder at the dent, then back to me. His face showed nothing but shock. I stared at him blankly, with my hands tightening up. I put my gun back into its holster, keeping my eyes on Harrison. You... Go inside. He stayed silent, holstering his revolver. Just go. Hey guys, it's me, Kip again. Sorry for this short intermission. I just want to say that already I'm noticing that the second half of the book is already not as good as the first half. And I apologize if any of this writing is dookie, because I'm realizing how overreactive some of these characters are, like being, and how kind of goofy this is. And also I've been saying words incorrectly sometimes and stuttering, and I just don't really want to do another take. So, yeah. Back to the story. Section 17. The Shame. Polo. It may sound like a storybook, but it was a dark and stormy night. There aren't many other ways to put it. I pulled into the hospital's lot, parking as close to the building as I could. The vast surface area intimidated me, but my urge to go inside outweighed my anxiousness. I hopped out of the car, grabbing my black umbrella and slamming the door behind me. I began speed walking towards the double doors, noticing a bullet hole in the base of a nearby light. I practically charged through the entrance, marching my way to the front desk. Hello, welcome to St. Vincent. Can I visit Roxanne West? A friend or family? A friend of her father. Can I go in? Sure thing, let me just fill this out. I sighed in relief as she clicked her pen and began writing on a small piece of paper. Just as I started to relax, I heard the doors open behind me. I saw someone in a soaking wet trench coat walk up to the desk behind me. He looked old, at least in his late 50s. He had hair that probably used to be light brown. He glanced at me with his green eyes before swiftly looking away. Hello, welcome to St. Vincent Health. What can I do for you today? Yeah, I'll let you get done with this young lady first. Sure thing. I started to grow suspicious of him. Why did he care if I was here? He may have been trying to be nice, but I think that this woman is very capable of multitasking. I mean, she works at a hospital, after all. I decided to distract myself. It's not a big deal. Maybe something happened to a loved one, and he just needs to get his composure. I took a look around the area. Despite the situation, it was a really cozy place. The kind of place I would want to be in if someone I loved was in danger. There were smooth, off-white walls, complemented by a brick pattern that somewhat mimicked stone bricks. Behind the girl at the desk was an area with a coffee machine, fireplace, and a lot of seating. Modern architecture covered the room. From the simplistic layout to the uniquely shaped lights, everything reeked of the modern era. What's your name, ma'am? I broke out of my focus on the room, and my head snapped towards the desk lady. I'm Ruby Settles. Visiting Roxanne West, correct? I moved my eyes away from her for a fraction of a second to look down at the hallway to my right. The man in the trench coat was looking at me. Yeah, that's correct. There's already somebody visiting her at the moment. Chloe Waters? That would be her. Yeah, she's my wife. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me coming in.
Well, okay. Roxanne is located in room 172.
I heard the man in the trench coat chuckle as the desk lady handed me an orange slip. I took a glance at the man before walking down the hallway to room 117.
I knew she'd be here.
After a moment of walking, I noticed the man in the trench coat following me in a reflection.
There's no way it's him.
Connected.
I hear static. A lot of static.
I see almost nothing. Just the occasional splash of a different color. I can barely feel my body. It feels stronger in the worst way possible. I can't taste anything. I haven't been able to taste anything in years. I can faintly smell. I can only describe it as vomit, sweat, cologne, and mildew. I can't cover my ears. I can't close my eyes. I can't move my body. I can't open my mouth. I can't plug my nose. My ears should be ringing. My eyes should be watering. My body should feel cramped. My mouth should be dry. My nose should be blocking out the smell at this point. I want to cry, but I don't have the tears.
I think we're being moved.
Me too.
Where do you think we're going?
I feel like there are better questions to be asking right now.
And they are?
Who's moving us?
That is a good question.
Who would care about us?
Do you want to try opening our eyes?
Sure.
3, 2, 1. It's dark.
I expected that.
I can almost see.
What do you see?
Well, the walls and ceiling are wood.
What kind?
The stuff that's chopped up and bonded together.
What shape is this room?
I think it's rectangular.
Is there anything in here except for us?
There's what looks like a couple posters, TV, and some other random technology.
I think we're in the back of a truck.
Sounds right.
Okay, we can close our eyes now.
Got it.
Now, I would want to take us somewhere else.
I don't think we can ask that question. We don't really know what us is.
Well, there's a few possibilities I've thought of.
What are they?
Idea 1, there's some sort of nuclear disaster and we mutated together.
I don't think that a radioactive creature would be transported in the back of a U-Haul.
Fair point.
Maybe we were part of some lab experiment that went wrong, so we had our memories wiped.
Then we would still probably be in the lab, not in some old truck.
I'm out of ideas then.
Me too.
But hey, let's look at the bright side.
Hmm?
We started getting along as we figured out how to move within the same couple of hours. We're on a really good track, and we'll figure this all out in no time.
I hope so.
I know so.
It's been such a long time since I saw her last. Is she even coming back? Did something happen to her? Did something happen to me? Well, of course something happened. I'm in this new body in a strange place. But was there some sort of shift? I'd take it. I just want something to happen. I'm so bored. There's nothing here to entertain me. All I have is the voice in my head, but I seem to know him less and less every day. And I don't think he sounds like me anymore. I've started having urges. Sick urges. I don't even realize how terrible they are in the moment. It all seems so justified.
Later, after the fact, I wonder if I'm going insane. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Disconnected. Chapter 4, Section 18. The Memory. Stress.
What's wrong? Who's down there?
Both of them, too, I mumbled.
Who?
I looked away from the window to make eye contact with Roxanne. I walked up to the left side of her bed, wrapping both of my hands around hers. I want you to stay calm when I tell you this, okay?
Look, lady, I barely know you. Just tell me if I'm in danger.
Well, you are.
What do you mean?
Or at least you might be.
What's going on?
I don't know, okay? All I know is that it is very likely something bad is about to happen.
Can you just tell me who's down there?
Shit. Wait, you watched our first volume of logs, right?
Yeah. How did you know that?
It doesn't matter. Look, do you remember what I said in that?
No, your tape was damaged beyond repair.
Damn it. Okay, do you remember Ryan and Harrison? They were the first two in the collection.
Yeah. Are they the ones out there?
Yes, but...
So then why are you so worried? They were your co-workers. They seemed pretty nice.
Well, if you let me finish, I was going to say that they've changed. Both of them.
How so?
Well, for the lack of a better term, they're both crazy. Just in different ways.
What kind of crazy? What kind of crazy? Like serial killer crazy, or...
Absolutely not serial killer crazy. They're both just... Look, I don't know what happened exactly. But one day, Ryan walked into Harrison's office, and they both left different. I mean, Ryan already had a weird phase, but this was just a harsh change in his attitude. He started acting like the Punisher or something. Not that he killed people, but he was just fucked. He became paranoid and on edge. He was always doing some really fucked up things. Harrison. He separated himself from everybody else. He got really negative and pessimistic. Always really gloomy and hard on himself. He didn't trust himself anymore. He was easy to push around, never spoke up to anyone. Like a hurt puppy.
I get being scared of Ryan, but why Harrison?
I'm scared of Ryan. I'm not scared of Harrison. I'm scared of them being together. The last time I saw them together, they were walking into Bonsai's at midnight. The next morning, the place was a mess and a bunch of stuff was missing. That was the day he told us the Bonsai's was closing.
Jesus.
Me and Roxanne looked at each other for a moment before we heard a boom. I immediately released her hand and looked out the window in panic.
What are you doing? It was just thunder.
Look, I know them, and I know that's not thunder.
Chloe, chill out.
I looked back at Roxanne, seeing her eyes watering.
You're freaking me out. They'll be fine.
I'm sorry. I walked up to Roxanne, kneeling down to grab her hand. You're right. Everything is okay. And everything is going to be okay. Roxanne closed her eyes. I did the same. I heard the beeps of the heart monitor gradually slow to a normal speed. I listened to the beeps, the rain pounding on the window outside, and the clocks ticking. I felt all of my stress melt away. Everything was going to be okay. Wait, ticking clock. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh no.
Chloe, what are you doing here?
The door slammed open, and I was instantly yanked out of my trance.
Ruby, I... At that moment, something clicked. I realized how bad I must have looked. I told my wife I was going on a drive. I insisted on keeping where I was going a secret to her. I was gone all day, and now I'm holding the hand of a girl who just turned 18 a month or two ago. Oh my god. Section 19. The shame. Red flags. She told me she was going on a drive. She insisted on keeping where she was going a secret to me. She was gone all day. Now she's holding the hand of a girl who just turned 18 like a week ago. Oh my god. You told me you were going on a drive. I just felt like I needed to help. Well, what if I wanted to help too? I don't care if you help or not, but I don't want you doing it alone. Do you know how dangerous it is coming back here? You could have died. What are you guys talking about? I looked over to Roxanne as I started to calm down. Wait. I looked back at Chloe. Does she not know? Chloe looked into my eyes with honesty and fear. I don't think so. I approached the side of Roxanne's bed, trying to look as welcoming as possible. I carefully put my hand on her shoulder, maintaining eye contact with her. Roxanne? Yes? I want you to be honest with me, okay? Sure. Good. Now be honest. Do you know my name? Yeah, it's Ruby. You know that I used to work at Bonsai's Barbecue and Jamboree, right? Yes. Do you know what job I had? No, not really. I was a tech manager. Do you know what that job entails? You programmed stuff? Close, but no. It was my job to design and produce any piece of technology we needed. That also meant that I had to figure out how to fix that technology if it was broken. Okay. Now, we made different models of each animatronic character to keep them up to date. The last version of Bonsai was rushed and came out way too early. Do you know why? No. Did the names Ryan Melton, Ben Carver, and Travis Stone sound familiar to you? I know a little bit about Ben and Ryan, but I don't know who Travis Stone is. I let out a sigh of dread. Me and Chloe looked at each other for a moment before nodding. In May of 1978, Harrison was mugged on his way home. The guy took all of Harrison's money. He also stole some picture of Harrison's. I looked over at Chloe for a moment. He took some pictures too. And a couple days later, someone named Travis Stone went missing. Harrison always wanted to help find missing people. He would take Polaroid pictures of missing posters and memorize the faces. He would never find anybody because of it, but he would always try. He did the same thing for Travis's missing poster. But he noticed something. He recognized Travis. It was the guy who mugged him. That's weird. The story isn't over yet. Oh, sorry. Did you see that one tape, Mascot? Yeah, I remember watching that. Something was wrong with our current bonsai model, RB6. Ryan and Ben checked it out and took a look. Ben took a look under Bonsai's fur. He started panicking and he ran to his car. The next morning, Ben went missing. Harrison got really worried about it, asking everybody where they last saw Ben. Ryan told his story, and Harrison made a decision. Alistair and Harrison took a peek under Bonsai's fur that night. I was upstairs in the office with Chloe at the time. I couldn't get their screams out of my head. They were only screaming for a moment, though. I shrugged it off as boys being boys at the time, but about 5 minutes later I heard police sirens outside. Me and Chloe came downstairs as soon as we could. I saw Bonsai pushed over on his stage with some dark substance around him. It smelled terrible. Before we got a chance to look into it, a swarm of police came in and told us to leave. We told them that we worked there. They said that we could stay if we avoided being in the dining room. After that was dealt with, me and Chloe desperately tried to find Harrison and Alistair. We found Alistair in the lower office, looking stressed and talking to 2 policemen. We found Harrison in the parking lot, sitting in an ambulance, wrapped in a blanket. Me and her split up. I stayed with Alistair and she stayed with Harrison. Alistair was anxious, full of shame. Harrison was worse. So much worse. He was huddled up in the ambulance, shivering. I tried to get him to calm down, but he couldn't form a sentence. I hugged him tightly. It was the best I could do. I could feel his scattered breathing. I could hear him sniffling. Felt like forever, but he managed to mutter out just 2 words in my ear. Dead face. It was him. Travis Stone. The police checked the rest of the animatronics, and they didn't find anything. The man who mugged Harrison his body was found in RB6. It had been a year since he'd gone missing. We could tell. My body jumped as I heard someone speaking from behind us. Section 20. The Shadow. Why the hell were you talking about that? It's just Roxanne didn't know, and... Be quiet, Ruby. Can you guys not fight? I don't want to... Please, I just don't want to deal with it right now. I looked at her. Roxanne West. The last time I saw her, she was a baby. I realized how I came off as soon as I saw the look on her face. I'm just like Ryan, aren't I? I began sweating. I could barely stand up. I was so ashamed of myself, seeing her here. My vision clouded, and it wouldn't change no matter how far I opened my eyes. I went numb, like I was moving through static. When my vision was cloudy, there's only one thing I could see clearly. 2 violet eyes. They pierced through me like a bullet. The eyes moved closer to me. As soon as the eyes got close to my face, my vision cleared up. They were never there to begin with, were they? I gained my balance. I regained everything. I'm sorry for trying to start things. Chloe had her hands on my shoulders, keeping me upright. Are you okay? In a moment of pure instinct, I wrapped my arms around her torso to hug her. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Chloe escaped the hug, backing away towards Roxanne. I stared at Roxanne in awe. I gazed into her strong blue eyes, noticing every detail. I looked at her bruised and scratched face, which still had a look of perseverance on it. She seemed like such a nice girl. Look at what you missed. God damn it. It's true after all. She was better off without you. I'm so proud of her. I snapped back to reality, looking around at Chloe and Ruby. They're so much older. They got together. They're married now. They're happy. They're happy without me. I took off my trench coat, looking around at everyone. Everybody, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Ruby gently put her hand on my shoulder, looking at me with an honest look on her face. It's okay. This is a stressful situation for all of us. We're bound to act out a little bit. I get that, but this is the first time I've seen you in decades, and I started cussing you guys out. It's not okay. I'm not okay. Chloe walked up to me with a look of sympathy on her face. Well, I lied to my wife to come here. It was dumb, but it made sense to me at the time. Roxanne looked up at me earnestly. I've been forcing myself to stay awake, even though I should really get some rest. Everybody in the room turned to Roxanne with a surprised expression. All of us said go to sleep in synchronous. But I'm not tired. Try anyway. Okay, fine. Roxanne closed her eyes, trying to go to sleep. As she did, Ruby and Chloe looked back at me. The point is, we've all done dumb stuff, and we're going to keep on doing dumb stuff. The best thing you can do is just know that it was dumb, and try to get better, I guess. I looked around at them, thinking about where we all started. Chloe was just the night watch. Ruby was the tech girl. I was their boss. Roxanne was just a baby when it happened. When her dad died. And now we're here. I couldn't decide if I was proud or sad about that. I guess you're right. I'm sorry about everything I've done still. Before anyone got a chance to respond, a voice called from the doorway. You better be. Me, Chloe, and Ruby turned to face the doorway, and Roxanne opened her eyes. With all of our faces screaming concern, we watched as Orion walked through the door. He didn't look anyone in the eyes. He just hung his coat on the hanger by the door. He began walking toward us, staying silent. Excuse me. He lightly pushed through us, making his way to the window. He put his arms on the windowsill, leaning against it and looking outside. After a moment of awkward silence, he spoke out in a casual tone. Well, it looks like the weather's clearing up. Chloe walked to the window, and Ryan moved to the side without looking up. She put her hands against the sill, leaning on it. Ruby followed her hesitantly, leaning on Chloe and resting her head on her shoulder. I heard a clacking noise come from Roxanne's bed. I looked over to see Roxanne getting herself up on crutches and getting her balance. I opened my mouth to speak, but she hushed me, nodding up and down. I watched as she made her way to the windowsill, clearly not experienced with using crutches. Machinery rolled behind her as she leaned against the wall by the window, looking out. There was a space between Roxanne and Ryan. I very hesitantly put a foot forward, freezing in place. Roxanne looked over her shoulder at me with a smile, gesturing me to join them. She really had no clue. I looked outside to see the once heavy rain was now a light sprinkle on the ground. I gazed into the horizon, seeing the sun peek out from it. I couldn't tell you why, but I felt like I wanted to cry again, thinking about my past and that what happened, what I did, what it did, was real. I felt Ryan pat me on the back before he put his arm on my shoulders, pulling me closer to him. My chest tightened and I felt my throat all choked up. One hell of a view, huh? Yeah. I looked out at Leadville, seeing it like I never had before. A thought crossed my mind. All those houses, there's people in them. All living people. All of them have a million stories to tell. They have a life just as complex as mine. Memories they see fondly, as I do mine. They each have struggles, regrets, and grievances. Despite all their troubles, they're still here. They're sleeping comfortably, excited to see the next day. Section 21. M-Wire. Order. I know. We all do. It's okay. I stood there, pondering my choices. There's something I want to do. What is it? He was hiding it, but I knew Harrison was holding back tears. We all leave the room except Roxanne. Only one of us will go back at a time. We each get our chance to talk to Roxanne one-on-one. You'll tell her what you know, say what you must, and leave. We can hang out in the lobby while we wait for our turn. By the end, everyone's happy, and Roxanne knows just as much as us. How does that sound? There was a moment's silence among everyone. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Seems pretty nice. We all turned to Harrison. His eyes were obviously watering. He looked around at each of us for a moment before looking out the window. I'll do that. Great. And I guess we'll start now. Hold on, how do we decide who gets to go when? We'll go whenever we're ready. Alright, I guess I'll see you soon, Roxy. Chloe started making her way towards the doorway. Then Ruby, then Harrison, then me. See you in a minute. I hope you feel better soon. Good luck. We all walked out of the room, leaving Roxanne alone. We got to the cozy-looking waiting area and took our seats. Chloe sat on the couch by the fake fireplace, and Ruby leaned on her. Harrison sat in the armchair, close to the coffee maker. I sat down in the armchair facing the fireplace. It was still pretty dark outside at the time, so you could barely see out the windows. The ambience of the area was very relaxing, which I'd needed. After a moment, Harrison got up and went over to the coffee maker. Nobody said a word, but in this environment I don't think anyone cared too much. I leaned forward in my seat, clearing my throat. All right, who wants to go first? I don't think I'm ready yet. I'm nowhere near ready. Kidding me? Well, I'm not ready either. How about you, Chloe? She looked conflicted for a second. I guess I'm ready. All right, good luck out there. Good luck. I wish you luck. Thanks. Chloe got out of her seat, gave Ruby a kiss, and made her way down the hallway. Soon after, Ruby got up. I've got to grab some stuff from my car. I'll be right back. All right. Watched her walk out of the front door confidently. I got up and walked over to Harrison, who was making coffee for himself. So how do you feel about it? About what? Ruby and Chloe getting together. Oh, I'm happy for them. I was a bit surprised at first, but looking back on it, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You know what, Ryan? You're pretty cool. Don't say that. I tried to shoot you in less than an hour ago. Hey, I tried to shoot you too. Fair enough. I remember what it was like to feel love. Me too. You've been in love? I didn't think you could do it. We both shared a chuckle. Cut it off. Of course I've been in love. How many times?
Roughly 6 times.
How did they go?
Most of them thought I was crazy. One of them died, and one of them cheated on me.
Jesus.
Whatever, I don't think about them anymore. I've had to focus on not getting murdered.
Same here.
And how's that been?
Surprisingly uneventful.
The most notable thing that's happened is seeing Bonsai listed on eBay.
Really? How did anybody get their hands on him?
No clue. The lister said that he just found it.
Damn. How much was he asking for it?
At least $5,000.
Did anyone buy it?
I don't think so.
We should go nab him before somebody else does.
I've considered doing that before.
Yeah. Do you know where the others went?
Well, Terry was auctioned off, and is apparently just rotting in a storage garage. And Lulu was sold and retrofitted into a haunted house. I went to the haunted house once. Her whole body was torn apart.
Retrofitted?
Retrofitted. It's like when you remove the cosmetics of an animatronic and replace them. People usually do it just to save a few bucks on actually building a mech.
Huh.
Me and him eventually sat down. We talked for probably over an hour. We talked for so long that Chloe ended up being done with Roxanne, and Ruby came in. But when Ruby came back, me and Harrison had decided who was next.
Section 22. The Blink. His final gift. Ruby walked out of the door, leaving me in silence again. Chloe did the same thing after explaining her story. Well, she called it Viola. I had no idea why she called it that, but I don't really care. Ruby told me about Hush. Next should be either Orion or Harrison. As I was thinking, I heard footsteps from down the hallway. It's got to be one of them. Before I knew it, I saw Harrison walking through the door, carrying a box in his arms. Hey. Hello, Roxy. What you got there? He didn't say anything. He pulled up a chair and set the box down on it. He then turned around when my heart sank. Text written in marker on the side of the box, it said, "To Roxanne, from Dad." How did... Before your dad died, he gave me some instructions. He told me to look in his closet for this box and give it to you when you turn 18. Do you know what's inside? No clue. Various emotions hit me in a wave. I was staring at the last remnant of my father and what he wanted to do. I felt happy, sad, worried, scared, anxious, excited. It felt like I was hit by a truck. So, would you like to do the honors? Yeah. I sat up in my bed as Harrison brought the chair with the box on it over to me. I reached my hand out towards the box, but I froze up. What if I didn't like it? What if he dropped some bombshell on me? Harrison reached out and grabbed my wrist. Are you okay? We don't have to do this now if you aren't ready. No, I should open it. It's what he wanted me to do. When Harrison released his grip, I peeled back the old tape on the box, opening it. There was some wrapping tissue, so I handed it to Harrison. The first thing I saw was an envelope. I grabbed it gently, carefully, making sure not to damage it. The envelope was made of this paper bag material, complemented by a red wax seal. The seal had a W in fancy lettering, probably for West. I flipped it over and saw the words, "For my proudest achievement," written in pen. My eyes began to tear up when I read the text. I
flipped the envelope over again, carefully opening the seal. My hands were shaking. The envelope was open. I gently removed the piece of white paper I saw folded up inside. I set the envelope to the side and unfolded the white paper. It was a letter written in purple pen. Dear Roxanne, I'm writing this at 2:37 a.m. on October 10th, 2003. I've realized that these may be my final hours. And of all of my grievances about this, my business deals, my company, my unfinished projects, etc., my number one priority right now is you, Roxanne. I've given Harrison the word, and so you should be receiving this on August 27th, 2021. That date will never feel real to me. For 17 years of your life, you've gone without me, and I've been without you. I tell you, all I wish I could do is give you one big hug to make up for all the hugs I've missed. But unfortunately, I can't do that. You might feel guilty that you never got to say a true goodbye to me, and I urge you to forgive yourself now, as reading this will be enough. Just know that I'm looking down on you right now when I'm smiling. It would hurt me to see you cry over me. Just know that I don't feel any pain. So do me a favor and smile back to me, won't you? After the night I'm writing this, my best pal Harrison will be responsible for you. I don't know what he will do, but I trust him. And if you're reading this in one piece, then I guess I was right to trust him. I want to give you more than just my word and the gifts I've given. So, the rest of the objects in this box are all yours. Some of them used to be mine, and some of those used to be my father's, and so on. I hope you treat the items with care, and I hope that you think of me every time you see them. Just like I think of you when I see the bulb of a flower planted in the ground. It might not look like much now, but it's a miracle that it's made it as far as it has made already. And it may be rough and hard now, but one day it will sprout into the most beautiful flower you've ever seen. You may have already bloomed as you're reading this, but if you haven't, just know that there's great potential in you. But it's your choice on how to use it. Let this be my final gift to you, Roxanne. Sincerely, Alistair West. I was in tears, holding the paper away from me to keep it from getting wet. I looked up at Harrison to see a tear run down his cheek too, and carefully slid the paper back into the envelope, setting it aside. In the box, I saw about 7 smaller wooden boxes that had purple ribbons tied around them in a bow. I took the wooden boxes out with my hands trembling, setting them beside me. 2 boxes were rectangular, one a decent bit bigger than my head. One of them was a rectangle, a little bit smaller than my forearm. One box had a flat, square shape that was about the length and width of a pizza box. I put the pizza-sized box on my lap first, untying the ribbon on it. I removed the lid, and I saw a dressy undershirt inside of the box. It was a solid color button-down shirt that was a light shade of violet. I took the shirt out and held it up to my chest. It was a bit big on me, but I could make it work. I set the shirt to the side, taking out the next shirt out of the box. There was a pair of black dress pants and a black dress jacket to go along with the button-down. I set them to the side and took the last shirt. It was a gray t-shirt that had a logo of the Creative Services Company in the middle of it. They all had this sort of smell, like musty cologne. It was comforting. I set the empty box down by my feet. I opened the forearm-sized box, and I saw a pair of rugged brown boots. I picked them up and compared them to my feet. They were almost my size. I held them by my toes when I set them aside. when I realized they were steel-toed boots. I unwrapped one of the boxes that were about the size of my hand, seeing a plushie inside. It was some kind of rat with a blue vest, hat, and eyes. Harrison sat up in his seat a little, pointing at the plush. When he spoke, I could tell he was obviously trying not to cry. I remember that character. We had entirely constructed him on our own. But the restaurant was closed down before we got a chance to use him. His name was Ricky Rat. Apparently that's what they were going to name Chuck E. Cheese initially. It's a total coincidence. But they ended up changing it somewhere down the line because it sounded too gross for a food establishment. I looked down at the plush and held it close to me as I reached for the final box. I untied the ribbon and opened the box, seeing a knife in a holster. The knife had a hatched wooden handle with a brass finger loops and a brass studded end. I unsheathed the knife carefully, observing the blade about twice the size of the handle. I stared it up and down, noticing small stains. Before I could ask about it, I heard the door open. I looked over to the door, seeing Ryan walk through holding a binder. "Ryan, what are you doing here? I thought you said you wouldn't come in." He walked over to the other side of my bed, silently, opening the binder to a page of photos. He stared me in the eyes. "Does this thing look familiar to you?" At first I was confused, but when I looked at the photos, a wave of memories flooded over me. I was at my desk crying. I just watched the fourth tape. I knew the truth. I got up from my chair, feeling weak. Right as I was about to lay down on my bed, I heard something. That noise. I heard glass shattering from downstairs. My heart dropped when I first heard the noise. I swiftly ran out of my room and looked down the stairs. It was late at night and the lights were off. I couldn't make out anything in the dark, but I kept looking as I didn't hear a sound. After a moment, I heard something hit the floor downstairs. I stayed staring into this pitch-black stairway. I was shaking. Right then is when I thought I saw movement. Coming from my living room, I saw a shape moving. I stared at it, trying to tell if I was seeing things correctly. Then, two lights shined from the shape that beamed a burning violet. I felt adrenaline surge through my body as I ran to my room. I tried to close and lock my door as quietly as possible, but it still made some noise, as it was bound to. I scrambled for the pocket knife I kept on my nightstand. It wasn't very good for self-defense, but it was all I had. I got a hold of it and hurried over to my closet. Before I went to the closet, a thought crossed my mind. If there's an intruder in my house, he's going to expect that I'm hiding in my closet. I looked over to my hamper and decided that it was the better option. I emptied the basket and hopped inside of it, desperately piling dirty laundry onto me. It was gross. Once I was hidden, as I could be, I got out my phone. I made a few tweets about the situation, apologizing for everything I hadn't done. Once the tweets were sent, I called 911. After a moment of ringing, they picked up. 911, what's your emergency? I was trying to keep myself from crying so that I didn't make too much noise. I heard a window shatter, and I saw purple lights downstairs. I think somebody's inside of my house. What's your address? I live at 319. I heard scratching and banging at my door, causing me to wince. I told the officer the rest of my address. Someone's banging on my door. I'm scared. What's your name? Roxanne West. My name is Roxanne West. We're sending police and ambulances to your location, Roxanne, but I need you to stay on the line with me. Okay. Roxanne, do you have any form of self-defense available to you at the moment? No, all I have is a stinky little pocket knife. That's okay. Is your door boarded up in any way? No, not right now.
I want you to find any heavy objects you have in your room and pile them on your door. Okay. I was sobbing. Right before I got up, I heard the door fly open. I huddled into the hamper and started whispering as quietly as I could. My door just got broken down. I think he's inside. Roxanne, are you in a safe hiding place right now? I think so. I'm hiding in my hamper. Roxanne, I need you to stay on the line with me and be as quiet as possible. Okay. Thank you. I lowered my phone and peeked through a small hole in the hamper. I saw that same violet color for the color light from earlier coming down from my doorway, flickering slightly. I shuddered as I saw the light move farther across my room. I took a deep breath inward and held it right before I saw the source of the light. It was hovering just above the door, its body making no movements, just lightly swinging. Its dark purple felt like body blended into the dark with a frame large enough to envelop me entirely. Its limbs were long and slender, with its hand almost reaching its knees. A cyan bow tie set upon its chest, on top of a large stitch running through its torso. Its hands were big enough to wrap around my torso if it wanted to. They were skinny and gangly, almost spider-like. And its face, God, its face, connected to a fractured-looking neck with a pale white face. It looked as if it was made of clay with scratches and cracks all along it. It didn't have a nose, lips, hair, or ears. Deep holes sunk into its face where its eyes and mouth should have been. Its eyes resembled two gaping circular black voids with two little lights sticking out of them. Those violet eyes. Its mouth was a pit resembling a half circle, with oval-like, unnatural gray teeth sticking out of it. Its cheeks extruded upwards from the main shape of its face, with purple blush applied to them. It's in my room right now. It doesn't look human. Our troops are almost there, Roxanne. You can make it through this. I'm scared. Everything's going to be fine. Just stay quiet. It glided above the floor, looking around at the room. It came to a halt at my wall, turning its head towards me. I uncontrollably winced, and it started moving towards me. I think it hurt. It's coming towards me. Hold out as long as you can until the police arrive. It's here! It's here! It knocked over the hamper I was in. I fell onto the floor with a loud thunk. No, please don't. It slammed the back of its hand into the side of my torso, knocking me into the wall. I barely got up, pulling out my pocket knife and running towards it. I jabbed the knife into its torso, and it barely went in. I pulled the knife out, not seeing blood under the skin, but wood. I looked up at the thing towering over me, and it wrapped its left hand around my body. Please let go of me. It began lifting me up, and it pushed me against the wall by my window, and lifted its right hand up like it was going to plunge its fingers into me. I tried to jab my knife into the thing's neck, but it grabbed my forearm with its right hand. It began moving the knife towards my neck, so I tried to get control of it with my other hand. When I did, the thing jammed the knife into the webbing between my thumb and my index finger. The knife sliced through it, and I started bleeding immediately. He yelled out and put the hand down, dropping the knife. The thing squeezed down on my forearm until it snapped. Pain washed over me, and I tried to kick the thing's leg, but it grabbed my leg with its right hand. It jolted my leg backwards with a harsh crack. Please let me go. It stared at me with its lifeless eyes, wrapping its right hand around the back of my head. It let go of my torso, turning me around and slamming my head into the wall.
A wave of pain went through my body as the wall cracked. The thing lifted me away from the wall, still holding me by the head. It took me towards my window. No, please! And in a swift motion, my head and torso were rammed into the window, shattering it. I turned my neck with the last strength I had in me and looked back at the thing, which had left through my doorway. My stomach was hanging on the windowsill, with shards of glass poking through me. I looked outside to see flashing red and blue lights coming down the street. Please, help me, I said in a hoarse voice. I cried as my vision faded to black, and I fell unconscious. My next memory was waking up in a hospital, confused. Snapping back to the present, I looked at Ryan, and I looked at the photos. It was Harrison and Alistair, standing in front of the thing that attacked me. They looked proud. I'm confused. We all are. He put his hand out to me, and I grabbed it. He helped pull me up and get on my crutches. He walked me over to the window, with Harrison following close behind. I gazed at the sun rising over the horizon. I found my eyes drawn back to the parking lot. I watched as the lamppost, with a dented base, turned off. And that concludes Creative Services Archive, or just Creative Services Project Clef. Hold on, I'm picking up my microphone. I might get louder. The second half was all right. I don't know. There's some parts that I actually cut out this one part. You know, whenever Harrison entered the hospital room and like he seemed to get like really sorrowful. Yeah, that was because in the original version, like he pulled a gun. He pulled a gun on Chloe. It got really aggressive, but then really sad, and I was like, I should just skip past that. So sorry if some stuff didn't make sense, because I did cut some dialogue out and change some stuff. And yeah, sorry if I did the voices different. I don't know. I kind of want to do like a video that kind of wraps up the story of Creative Services a bit. Just like maybe I'll do another book where you get to see the conversations and hear the conversations that Roxanne had with Ryan and Chloe. And well, you heard the conversation with Ryan. No, you didn't. The conversation with Ryan and Chloe and Ruby. Like you get to hear all that stuff and you get like a full scope of the story, because I do want this story to be known. You know, I don't think it was a bad story necessarily, so I might start working on that, and then I'll do a voiceover of that book. But yeah, that was Project Clef. The long awaited, probably 2 years after I got done writing it, I actually made the audiobook that I'd planned on doing like all along. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna head out. See y'all.